Welcome to the first episode of Duty Found. Here we are going to be primarily going through the dungeons of various levels and difficulty of Final Fantasy XIV. Initially I'll be going through from a healer's perspective, specifically White Mage. Later on down the line I may branch out into other jobs, give you views of how the other side plays. Today we're going to be going into Sastasha, the first dungeon in Final Fantasy XIV. Overall difficulty is not too bad, so it should be a relatively easy playthrough, even with potentially a few new people. As I said, it is the first dungeon in the game, so a lot of times you get sometimes 2, even 3 brand new players. It's a lot of fun. This is the Duty Finder menu. In Final Fantasy XIV, you use this to access your instance content from anywhere in the game. There's no reason to go where you need to go. So, alright, we're gonna hit join up here, and we'll see how long it takes. Oh, wow, that was quite quick. Benefits of being a healer. Alrighty, so here we go. Everyone's going to queue in, and this will pair me with 3 other players from anywhere within the North American data center. Good old server clusters. I do have cutscenes turned off, so there will be minimal spoilers involved. I'm not sure how many people care about those, especially for this early content, but such it is. Nope, looks like someone did not confirm. We'll likely have to... Oh, there we go. DPS often have problems getting into queues, so a lot of times they will be AFK and may not hear the chime when it dings. And here we are. Okay, it looks like we may have all new players. I can't be sure. We have a Gladiator as our tank, we have an Arcanist as one of our DPS, and we have a Monk. Okay, so it's not terribly new. Okay, being that there are newer players in here, we'll probably be taking this relatively slowly. The map for the dungeon, here we go. Alright, at this level I don't have a whole lot of tools at my disposal. I've got Cure for healing, I've got Medica for AoE healing, I've got Isuna for cleansing status effects. Then I have a couple DPS abilities that I can work with. As far as buffs go, I really only have access to Protect at the moment. It provides a defense increase to the party. As a White Mage main, I also have a trait that augments that to increase magic defense. You can cross-class spec Protect, however, Scholars will not be able to give the additional effect. It will just be the basic defense bonus rather than the defense and magic defense both. Tanks at this level tend to be a little squishy, so I'm not able to multitask quite as much as I would like. you see I put up Cleric Stance. It is a stance-based ability that will persist until I turn it off. While it is up, I do increased damage with my spells and decreased healing. It also, as an additional effect, swaps the values for my int and mind stats, intelligence and mind. The int affects your magic potency, and mind affects your healing potency. So in addition to increasing the raw damage of my skills, it also raises my base main stat. So there we go. It's kind of an essential tool in the kit for when I'm able to throw DPS. See here on the aggro markers, I do have hate on one of the mobs right now. Nope, there we go. The tank got it back under control. Low levels, it is rather difficult for them to maintain hate because, just like me, they have far fewer tools in the kit available to them. Okay, things are going pretty smoothly so far. Looks like everybody knows what their jobs are. And here we come up to the first minor mechanic that you'll encounter in the game. These clams alternate between vulnerability and invulnerability. It's open or closed. While they are alive, they will continuously spawn these Shade Seeker mobs. So it is kind of important to knock these out of the way before moving forward. Shade Seekers themselves aren't too terribly dangerous, but with constantly swarming in, it can be a strain on resources. The mobs will generally link together in groups. You can't tell how they're going to link a lot of times by lines connecting them. They kind of blink in and out. So it's more than just line of sight or whatnot. They do tend to be basically partied up a lot like we are as players. The Cave earlier there channeled an ability that gave a paralyze effect to the tank, so I'm going to cleanse that off right now. Paralyze in this game will interrupt your actions from time to time, as well as stop movement whenever it rocks. And the monk is running off to take care of the clam, so she knows what's up. Alright, and we were able to get the clam out of the way really quickly there. Lets us focus on taking care of the little mobs and moving on. Now, there are quite a few optional segments to most dungeons in this game. Here you'll see the first. Off to the right here is a treasure coffer with another clam grouping. This one is completely optional. You don't have to fight it in order to progress in the dungeon. And the chest drops crafting materials for making furnishings. So nothing too terribly important, but I'm sure some people might be interested. And with lower level characters, a lot of times you will complete the optional pulls as just an extra way to get some extra experience. Running dungeons, the mobs provide a great deal more XP than they would compared to mobs of similar level outside of dungeons. Okay, you see the glowing purple line up here in front of me? That is actually indicative of a boss arena. 15 seconds after a boss is pulled, the arena will seal, so you will not be able to enter or leave if you get locked out. It's shenanigans such as releasing, coming back, and that sort of thing. Earlier on in the dungeon, the party found a piece of paper it found a marker that indicated which coral formation had the switch to reveal this switch. So we'll click this inconspicuous switch here, oh so conspicuously marked, to spawn the boss. It is Chopper, the coral. It is not terribly difficult whatsoever. It does hit a little bit harder than some mobs previously, so you do need to be careful. And here it channels an AoE around it that will apply a paralyzed debuff to whoever gets hit, so you just gotta be careful of that. Looks like the monk is threatening for aid there. And that is a limit break. As you may have noticed, there's a limit break bar up here in the top left corner, and it will gradually fill up as the party completes actions. Just about anything, really. Different classes have different roles have different limit breaks available to them. Every boss drops a chest that will give you gear of various stats and usage. Gotta go ahead and pass that. Let our Arcanist have that. Probably it's an upgrade for her, so there we go. Yep, it is. here we are already with another boss. This first dungeon it's more minor encounters than full-on boss fights until the end, so... And here we are. Captain Madison and his two goons, the Shallowtail Reavers. Nothing too much to worry about with this part of the fight. It's just a little bit of ad control, which as they're coming off, looks like the tank is having a little trouble. This needs to flash a few more times, I guess. It is always difficult for tanks when the DPS switch up and hit different mobs. And he runs off after a little bit of beating. He does, however, leave a chest behind, so there's that still. There's a wand, that is a conjurer main hand weapon. Alright, and here we are. We see there's quite a bit of rooms around the side of this room. This section of the dungeon actually has quite a bit of optional content. We'll see how much we end up going through. Try not to pull more than normal. Now we did end up getting 2 pulls here, so things might get a little chaotic, but we should be okay. I'll likely have hate on this Shallow Eye Reaver for the fight. Oh, no, looks like the tank could not take that much. So we're going to retreat a little bit here. While they're chasing me, we'll see if the tank releases. These guys are... the range attacks are getting in the way of things, and the tank is not releasing, so that's fun. Well, that was fun. A little bit of a trek there. Tank is not likely to get hate off me, so I'm just gonna have to cure spam here a little bit. Oh, look, there we go. We got the dog off me at least. So we can heal her up a little bit, so I don't get interrupted. The other two party members are doing their own thing at the moment. Alright, fun times. Got that taken care of. And so now we rush forward to meet up with the rest of the party. That is the nice thing about these low-end dungeons. You can kind of split off and do your own thing. It's not terribly difficult. Especially when you've got a couple people that are higher level. In order to get into this dungeon, you need to be level 15, and it sinks you down to level 18. So as you can see, the Gladiator is the lowest level of the party right now, which is not a friendly place for a tank to be. So, just makes things a little bit more interesting. And while we've been gone, the other two party members have opened up the captain's quarters and taken care of the mob within that holds the Wave Rider Gate key. That key is needed to move on forward with the dungeon. Get a fresh protect on the party, and we move on. Hopefully we'll keep this to single pulls from here on out. Alright, and as you can see, we see Captain Madison once again. This is the second encounter we have. He's got a little bit of a surprise for us here in this fight, which you'll see before too long. I'm certainly not helping things by DPSing while I have hate, but it makes things fun. See, I have an accuracy down debuff applied to me. I'm just going to go ahead and cleanse that. It doesn't really matter much for me, but and here we go. He called forth his scurvy dogs. There are 4 of them. The tank is fresh out of MP, so hate is likely to be a little on the tight side, considering they don't have access to flash. There we go. A little couple of their MP regenerating combos in later, and they've got things under control. Okay, and Madison has run away with his tail between his legs, but we still have the dogs to deal with. Okay, and we have the coffer here again. That is a shield for casters primarily. The tank used a nifty ability here, Convalescence. It increases healing magic received for a set period of time. It helps quite a lot when you're taking a significant amount of damage, which you feel to keep on top of things. However, the added heals do mean extra hate for healers, so it does make things a little bit more difficult for the tanks. Low levels, it actually shows up quite a bit more than higher levels. You'll use Convalescence regularly, but the hate is not really an issue. Got a few more mobs here. Go ahead and run to the tank since I got hate on something. There we go. I've always been of the opinion that you run toward the tank rather than away, lets them get hate back. And it looks like the Arcanist got a level in here, which is good for her. And the tank playing smart, moving things away from potential things, always nice. And we're coming up here on the last boss of the dungeon. If you see over there, it's Morgan is sitting there. Okay, and here we go. As I said, I have cutscenes disabled. There is an introductory cutscene whenever you encounter the last boss of a dungeon. Looks like the tank is still in there. This is probably our first time in here, so nothing too much to worry about. There we go. I'm going to focus target the boss. Lets me always have them targeted regardless of where my actual target is, so I can see what they're doing. See these unnatural ripples here. At certain points in the fight, there will be activity at the ripples, and someone will need to interact with them in order to prevent ads from spawning. In the past, I've had problems with not being able to manage healing and taking care of the bubbles at the same time. Things get a little hectic, and tanks can take a lot of damage. Hydro Ball is a frontal cone AoE. It's really the only thing that the boss does. It's like the monk is taking care of, or the pugilist is taking care of that one. I guess they're a monk. Sorry. And I'm gonna run in here and take care of this real quick. Hopefully the tank doesn't take too much damage while I'm away. This is a good example of situational awareness being very important. For healers especially, you need to be aware of pretty much everything that's going on in a given fight. Whether DPS are taking hate and getting hit harder than they should be, whether there's mechanics going on that people haven't noticed, that sort of thing. And this is what happens when one of them is missed. There were two over on that side, and the Archmist was not able to collect at them both. But these don't hit too hard. It only becomes an issue when you have quite a few of them. Here we go. The monk is limit breaking, which will very nearly end the fight. And there we are. This has been the first dungeon of Final Fantasy XIV, Sastasha. As with all bosses, when it was dropped, it dropped a chest. Last bosses typically have some fancier gear. And at the end of a dungeon, done through Party Finder, or Duty Finder, you are given the option to commend any of the players you partied with. I'm going to go ahead and give the tank my commendation and let them know that they did a good job, and we're free to go to the exit. Alright, it looks like one of them commended me as well. Hooray, hooray. Alright, thank you for joining me for the first episode of Duty Found. As I'm just getting started, if anyone has any sort of suggestions, questions, comments, things they'd like to see, features, that sort of thing, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to respond. And now that I am back home in Home Sweet Home Mist, I'm going to sign off for the night. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.